Welcome to the RGVSports.com Week 1 webcast. I am Brian Sandalo, and I am joined by District 35A beat reporter Todd Orodenker. And let's just get right into it. The top 10 looks really different this week, and Sherryland is now on top. Todd, what do you think about the new top 10?
It's a little different than it was last week and for the preseason. Sherry just kind of didn't have too much of a challenge from Brownsville-Hanna, but a lot of expectations coming into the year. They were number 2, Harlingen lost, and that's kind of the way it worked out. Sherryland's on a bye this week, so when San Benito plays Old Harlingen in the Battle of the Arroyo, if San Benito wins that, maybe they bump up to number 1, but we'll see.
Should Sherryland really get credit? I mean, they beat a Brownsville school. I mean, should they really get credit? I mean,
it's kind of the way it goes. They were number 2, and then the number 1 lost, so they bump up to number 1. Number 3, San Benito didn't have an unbelievable win over Los Fresnos, so it was an impressive win. Los Fresnos is a good team, but it was just kind of the way it worked out for most people, though you were the one who voted for San Benito as the number 1 team, so why, Sandalo, did you do that?
I voted for San Benito because they had a better win. They had a much better win. I mean, let's face it, Brownsville is going to struggle this year. Hanna might be the best of the bunch, but still, they're going to struggle, I think. And San Benito went into Los Fresnos and won, and they won without their best running back, if I'm not mistaken.
They did.
So I think that's a better win, and obviously they might not be number 1 for that long, but I felt like when I was doing my ballot late Saturday night that San Benito was the team to beat. So that's why I am the 1 vote, and I think I was the right vote.
Well, you always think you're right, but we got what about the 4 teams that bumped into the rankings at the bottom? Westlake East, Ed Couch, Harlingen, South Rio Hondo. What out of those teams kind of sticked out to you? Maybe one team that didn't make it even.
Well, actually, Ed Couch. I mean,
you're Ed Couch. I'll say Yellow Jackets.
No, that's not true. No, that's not true at all. But team scores 5 points and wins.
It's impressive. It doesn't happen every day.
I don't remember the last time that happened. I mean, we're not talking baseball here. This is a very interesting game. I'm glad I didn't cover it because I would have probably fallen asleep.
Possible. Not a lot of offense. Not a lot of interesting things happening.
Was there drama at the game? I don't know.
I don't know. It's we'll have to ask Mikey G about that. But it didn't seem field goal to safety and just a lot of probably running into the line. Not too interesting of a game. But Westlake playing against Ed Couch, that kind of segues into a game this week that a couple people might be a little bit interested in against Donna.
It's going to be a full house.
Will it be? It will be a full house. Two Joey, Jesse, everybody's going to be there. Westlake and Donna for the first time in 4 years, Sandalo. Pretty exciting around the Mid-Valley.
I would think so. I mean, these two communities, I don't know if the teams have any real hatred against each other, but I know these communities, they've wanted this game. I know it's always been a big story the last 2 realignments when they didn't play each other. So now that it's back, I think that everyone's going to be glad that it's back, of course, unless your team loses. And that's going to be a problem. And now you're a little bit more involved in this. You cover Donna, if I'm not mistaken. Have you talked to Manny Moreno yet about anything with this game?
We brought it up during the preseason last week, just try to focus on North when we were talking to each other. But talking to him in the preseason, it just kind of seemed like it was time for Donna and Westlake to put their differences aside, and both kind of blamed each other for this whole thing, for why they haven't played for the last 4 years. And some of it may had to do with district becoming so difficult for all these teams and not wanting to play these really unbelievably tough, emotionally draining games in the non-district, and then kind of having to keep that momentum going into district. But both sides kind of blamed each other. Nobody's quite sure whose fault it was, but it's as Mark McGuire said when he's standing on sitting on the what was it, the
desk, whatever,
the desk for at Congress when lying under oath.
We're not here to talk about the past.
We're not here to talk about the past, as I stammer through that reference.
Yeah, you really did a great job with that. We apologize to our listeners. My mom, hi Mom. We apologize to you, Mom, for Todd's little mistake there. But actually, I have a point about Westlake. It's a very big game for Westlake, I think. Obviously, for the reasons, for more than just for the rivalry reasons. They lost to Ed Couch last week. That's a big training rivalry game, Mid-Valley game. They lose this week. They're 0-2 heading into district play.
That's not a good place to be.
And 31-5A is apparently the world's toughest district in the Valley. So you don't want to, obviously those games get wiped away, but you don't want to be going into that super-duper cadofragilistic tough district, 0-2 off coming off of 2 rivalry losses. So, but of course, there's another rivalry game that that everyone's thinking about this week. We talked about it a little bit. It's the Battle of the Arroyo. Harlingen, San Benito.
Yes.
You're somewhat familiar with San Benito from your time covering the old 32-5A.
The old 32-5A.
I'm going to go right into it. Who's going to win this game?
I pick San Benito just because I have a feeling. It's not really, if you look at kind of the way the matchups have gone in the past, it's not even a debate. Harlingen's been killing them. It's not been much of a rivalry. I mean, Harlingen did get smoked last week against San Antonio Johnson, but if you look at their scrimmage results, they played Mercedes well. Then they hung with Sharyland and Laredo United. Actually, they kind of beat Laredo United around on the scrimmage, and them and Sharyland are pretty even. So Harlingen's a pretty good team.
Yeah.
Aside what happened last week, that was just one game they kind of got away from them against a team with a lot of speed and size, but. San Benito didn't have a scrimmage against La Jolla Palomar. They only did about 40, 20 plays.
I'm sure Spencer Gant was thrilled.
I'm sure he was very happy about that. And then they kind of go into Los Fresnos a little bit raw, a little bit, understandably a little bit unprepared, and without their best running back. And it's kind of a sloppy win there against Los Fresnos. So San Benito maybe not up to speed as much as they want. Harlingen probably a little bit above them. But I just got a feeling that it's time. You can't beat a team 50 times in a row. And, they beat them 50 times in a row. There has to be a 51st. There has to be one. San Benito's got to get him eventually. They've got a good team. This game's at home. And I just kind of think it's time.
See, I picked Harlingen. Even though I voted San Benito number 1, I'm a man of contradictions. I feel like that Harlingen's probably not the bad team they looked like last week. I think that they're not used to being behind. And then when they got behind, they had no idea what to do. Their kids, might have panicked a little bit. Coaching staff might have panicked. I'm sure that everybody at Bogus Stadium, they panicked too, and that probably all is a real huge feeling of panic. Yeah. I know Derek Jeter doesn't panic. He doesn't believe in it. But I think that people in Harlingen may have panicked a little bit Friday night, and I think that's probably why we saw the 36-0. Harlingen isn't that team. They're going to come out. I think they're going to come out on fire. Red will not be dead. Harlingen will win that game.
It's possible.
That's my prediction.
What happens if Harlingen goes 0-2? Does the world fall on itself?
I think Harlingen implodes. I think that the Harlingen field, that will just bogus stadium. We become like a black hole.
Are they allowed to go 0-2? Is that
the Valley International Airport will become
Valley guys?
They'll all just all be sucked into a black hole, and when you drive to Brownsville, you'll just skip over where Harlingen once was. The world will end in Harlingen. But moving on, before I get myself in any more trouble, are there any other games that you're looking at this week?
Well, I can start with my own district, I guess. The game I'm going to be at, Edinburgh Economies in McAllen Memorial. How about Econ? First win in since 2010 with a takedown of the Brownsville Porter fighting Cowboys.
Well, you just said the key word there. Brownsville. So come on,
Yeah, but a win's a win for Economies. They haven't had one in a while, and now they welcome McAllen Memorial, number 4 team, good team with that stud freshman running back. Or is Economies going to be able to? Probably not going to be able to win this game, but is it going to be a 50-0, or is it going to be?
It's not going to be like that because Memorial's not the team they were last year. Economies isn't either. But I think in the end, Memorial gets the win fairly easily.
Fairly easily. So Econ not ready for prime time yet.
Not quite ready for prime time yet, but more ready than prime prep. But we'll talk about Dallas football news later.
At Dallas ISD rep. Good job.
I'm glad I got that in there. But now a game I'm interested in covering a game tomorrow night. Was it Palmview at Mission Veterans? I'm sorry, Coach Gilpin, that's not going to be the game I'm talking about right now. Game I'm interested in is Hidalgo Mercedes. Obviously I'm a former 32-4A guy, so I'm going to have to lean that direction. But, I really want to see how Shea Patterson does in his second game. Of course, against Raymondville last week, he was terrific for a half. Kind of got shut down a little bit in the second half. Is that what Shea Patterson's going to be this year? Is that going to be the Hidalgo experience this year? One good half, one bad half. And then for Mercedes, it didn't look like they got much done against Cal Allen.
No.
Is that the team that they're going to be this year? I don't think so. They're not going to play like Cal Allen for a while. But are they a team that can win a district, which some people pick them to do, myself included? Can they win the district, or are they just going to be, not quite ready to make that next step? I think that Mercedes makes a statement and wins this game.
I agree Mercedes is going to win this game. I think it's going to be a little bit closer. I don't think Mercedes is quite as good as maybe they were. Actually, they weren't that great last year. They got in the playoffs, though, but I don't know if they're that top level of 4A, kind of like what Mission's been doing these days. So, and Ed Couch, a very impressive win despite what the score said. Defense wins championship. So, I think Mercedes is more in that middle of the pack in 4A, and Hidalgo. We'll see what they're made of. It's I don't know. Raymondville's a good 3A team, but this is going to be a real test for Hidalgo and for Patterson, and kind of his freshman. Don't want to put too much pressure on him, but
that's cat's out of the bag.
Cat's out of the bag.
There's pressure on him. It's too late.
Yeah, he's kind of picked the wrong spot to kind of fly under the radar.
Yeah. All right. So now you got any upset picks? Anything kind of jumps out?
Any upset picks? Well, let me see here. What was I thinking on this? Is Raymondville beating Orange Grove an upset?
I don't know.
I don't think I'm going to pick. I don't think I'm going to pick Raymondville going against Orange Grove. Orange Grove's a good team for the Mid Valley. What about Harlingen South beating PSGA Memorial? Home debut for the Hawks.
See, that's a very good game. That's kind of getting lost in the shuffle because of the big rivalry games going on. A lot of people think Memorial's the best team in 31 or 5A.
Yeah, they might be.
I'm not sure I'm on that bandwagon yet, but I think San Benito is. But God, all roads lead to San Benito. It's true what they say.
But South first. They beat McElroy last week.
Right.
Somewhat impressive, and now they go against PSG Memorial. So if South can pull this off, heading into 32 5A play, if they pull this off, are they now a favorite along with Harlingen?
Well, they're second favorite. Harlingen's the favorite in that district, no matter what happens.
Yeah, but if South wins this game, the Bird Bowl, as they call it, is not till later in the season. So if South wins this game, can we see an undefeated South team going into
the Bird Bowl? Yeah. It's very possible, but I still think Harlingen's the favorite in that district.
Well, they obviously are, but
until they lose a district game.
South, a lot of people are picking them third, fourth, kind of not yet. They'll make the playoffs, but if they win this game, if they can pull this off,
they're ranked too,
and they are ranked, and the South would elevate to the top status, to being a top 5 team all of a sudden.
Wouldn't that be something?
That would be something for Harlingen.
It's funny small story before we go. When I came here in 2007, remember that was the year for Harlingen South. They went 12-1, so I thought, Harlingen South's the big power. Well, obviously that was a bit deceptive. But, hey, maybe this is their year to get back into the playoffs.
Maybe.
So now if you want to send us any sort of hate mail or contact us directly, you can reach Todd Ordanker on Twitter at TODDO243, and I am at Brian Sandalo, as it sounds. And be sure to follow RGVsports.com on Twitter, on Facebook, and the RGV Week 1 hashtag. Thanks for listening, and we hope you come back next week, but we understand if you don't.